What's up, everybody? Welcome to Game Back for another episode of HBCU. We're gonna jump straight into it this time around, man. No games to be played. What's up, fellas?
What it do? What it
Yo,
do?
what's happening?
Yes, sir.
Yo,
All right, so I just want to read y'all a quote, man, from the great Malcolm X, and it says, "The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman." So we're gonna start right there. Do y'all agree with that?
I can, man. I can. That's
You
a tough
agree?
one, man.
You agree?
Yeah. I mean, if you're listening, bro, if you're listening, and I know we kind of talked about this a little bit heading out last week, but it's a lot of women out there don't feel protected, man. And that cry for help is important, and we need to be listening to it. No different than when we listen to Black Lives Matter. You know, black women have been feeling like, they're not protected. They've been feeling like the ones that are there are abusing them. So you hear too many cases, man, too many cases of black women feeling like they're not protected in their relationship and being abused. So it's out there.
Okay. So that's one agreement. The other boy quiet, man. Y'all don't agree? Agree or what?
It's just a tough statement.
I mean,
I
it's
think
a strong statement, though. It's very
one.
strong.
Yeah, it's very strong. I think it's some truth to it for sure. And I think it just depends on the perspective, and kind of, what that person mindset is and how they grew up and, how they feel about themselves, I guess. I think that's a part of it too. You know, but you're right that's a strong statement.
So why do you think they say that, bro?
Say it again, J-Star.
Why do you think they say that? You said because of how they grew up and some of the experiences that they had growing up?
Is that the woman
Yeah.
or the man?
Say it again, Vito.
Is that the woman? Is that the woman or a man or the man? That what you mean? Like you feel like the woman, depending on how she grew up, she may or may not feel that way, or what you think?
Yeah, I just think so just how they grew up, and what their perspective, what people, like you said, what people may think of them, and do they actually believe that, and what they, how they act upon that. So, from a standpoint of making a difference, because I think, people can take things a certain way where it causes them to kind of spiral down, and then, or you could, really use that as motivation and really try to, go on the opposite side of that, to succeed and try your best to just kind of rise to the top, if that makes sense, so.
What you think, Gerald?
It's a tough statement. I think overall, it's kind of a blanket statement. Like I said, I got some truth to it, but I think kind of to piggyback off what Josh saying, I think, and we'll probably get into it, but I think there's multiple layers to it, as far as from the man's side, from the woman's side. I think it how you came up, like what does protect mean? Like what does protect mean to her? Is it just a physical thing, or is it a financial, emotional thing like that? I definitely think we got work as a whole, as black men in general. But like I said, I think it's multi-layered. I don't think there's just black men just don't care. We don't care about black women. I think you got a huge population out there that some don't know how to protect a black woman because they've never seen it. I mean, if I'm a guy and I grew up without a father, no male figure, and all I've been around is women, then what does that look like? What does manhood look like? What does it look like to protect a woman? How does it look to treat a woman? That type of thing.
Yeah.
So without that influence, you kind of stuck with to go find it, and then you walk up, you see it in the street, and all you hear is a dude saying "B this, H this," whatever, and that's all you see. So you're gonna flock to that.
We're gonna dive into that.
It's definitely some truth to it. I think anytime you hear something that strong, you have to validate the feeling. But
What you
we
think?
get
What you think,
a bit
Price?
deeper into it.
Yeah, so I'm kind of on the fence with it a little bit.
Whether you
You
agree
know,
with it or not?
yeah, on whether I agree or not. I mean,
Yeah.
it's such a strong statement. And honestly, I think, it really takes perspective to answer that question. For me, it's probably more of a question you need a Black woman to really answer on whether they feel that they're protected or not. But I like J-Rock was saying, I think there's so many factors that factor in, when you got like systemic racism, which leads to mass incarceration.
So without all the factors though, because I want to get like, not to cut you off, but I want to get kind of like, I know it's a lot of factors. We're gonna dig into a lot of them, but kind of just overall, because it's easy, because it's not many of us. You got Black men, you know what I'm saying? You got white women, black women. It's racist. I get it, but we still got very few. Sex is male and female. So do you how do you feel? Do you feel like that's too much of a statement to say I agree with?
I don't know. It's like I said, it's real tough. Like I said, I'm riding the fence on this one because I feel like it's a real tough question to answer.
Hopefully
I do
we
feel
can
like
answer
there
that
are
question.
brothers,
Like at the end, by the time we talk through everything. Yeah.
right? But I do think that there are brothers that are out there protecting their women. So it's a tough question.
What you think, Deezy?
For me, there's obviously a way to see both sides of this. But to me, that statement was made in the 50s and 60s, and lots of things have changed since then. I think we do I know from what I see with my friends, we do a lot better than guys did in the 80s and 90s when there was hardly any, Black men in the homes. It's just a lot different now. I truly believe that in my heart.
Okay.
Well, they say, Deezy, man, it's a lot of Black men out in the home today.
That's true. There's a lot of white men not in the home today either.
Yeah,
we ain't talking about them though.
But what I get that.
I get
what I'm saying is that like it's just different now. I mean, think about it. When we were growing up, you see way more, even if they're not in the home necessarily, way more dudes take care of their kids now than they did back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, I can't give you any statistical numbers behind that. So, I mean, from what I see,
I can't either, but I see more. I see it more than I saw it back when I was growing up.
I got you. Well, I'm gonna give y'all, my opinion on it, man. I agree with 100%. There's a bunch of different factors, but just looking at all those factors and taking what I see, in that, man, I can't go against that statement. I think that statement is still valid today. I think our Black women are super important. Of course, I'm sure y'all feel the same way. It's just a lot of the stuff that I see leads me to that. And we're going to dive into it right now. As a matter of fact, one of the first things that I kind of want to talk about is colorism. Do y'all like see a clear difference in, matter of fact, I just, I want honesty here. I want you to take it back to, when you was in high school and the stuff you heard in grade school. You know what I'm saying? You might prefer a more fair-skinned Black girl, light-skinned, you see a dark-skinned girl. You hear a lot of times you hear stuff like, oh, she cute to be dark. Is that a fair statement? How did you feel, when you was dating somebody and she may have been light skinned? Did you feel like bigger? Do you feel like better? You feel like, I'm better than this cat over here because my chick light skinned? How did you feel about that? And what role do you think that plays in this protection thing? My spiel about it, man, I feel like I'll jump in first and maybe y'all can kind of see where I'm coming from as to why a lot of this stuff is true to me. There's a clear difference in between what men feel is beautiful. I know we can have an argument about it all day long, but dark-skinned women tend to get not necessarily pushed to the side, but they seem to get scrutinized a little bit more. And that's even from woman to woman. and how that plays into the protection role is going to be a treatment. You know what I'm saying? It's the way you treat these women. It's the way you view these women. You know, even in music, man. In rap music, you'll hear references. You know what I'm saying? You hear cats they're saying they won't talk to a dark skinned chick. Gilbert Arenas went in on Lupita, talking about she wasn't good for nothing until the lights was off. How
Wait,
can you feel, huh?
Oh yeah. All right, keep going.
No, you good. You know, I'm just saying, like, how can you feel protected when somebody is basing, and we talking about black women here. So this is black women. When you getting judged based on what color your skin is, or you know how bright it is, or I mean that's one facet of it right there off top. Have y'all experienced that in y'all lifetime? Seeing that, hearing that?
I mean,
I would agree with that.
go ahead, brother.
I would agree with that. You know, I think, you know, for me personally, it honestly definitely doesn't matter.
Wait a minute,
I just think
though.
about I just
I
think
just
about the
think about
statement.
back in the day. Now, back in the day.
I think about the statement I made to you all when I first met.
I agree. Look, I was about to say, I agree.
What was that
Now.
statement, bro?
But
The world want to know.
you know,
world
also
wanna
we
know.
also gotta think about other little small purposes within that, whether it be hair, whatever it may be. But I agree with your first statement. My boy did post up in the corner, everybody talking about hobbies and all that. And my boy said, you know, I'm like, I like to hoop, I like to draw, I like to do all this stuff. My boy posted with the A shirt on. Yeah. My name is Jarrell Tyler. I like girls. And that was it.
That was it.
Hey, this was a freshman year at the dorm.
But finish your thought, bro. Finish your thought.
Yeah,
My bad.
but okay, yeah. See, back to the topic at hand, man.
Long time ago.
So, but no, seriously though, I mean, to me, like some of those statements you made, I think it says more about the person, you know, themselves, right? Like the person that makes that comment or that feels that way. And also, I think it all has a lot to do with the woman and how she acts, you know, or the person and how they act, right? You know, if a person has a attitude or the way they're acting, I think it just makes that, you know, really just even worse, you know, than what it can be perceived as. So, but again, in my opinion, you know, I just think about, you know, in my past and over my life, but you know, to me, I think it has a lot to do with the type of person, you know, that's got that certain feeling.
But would you say, so we could talk about the type of person, but at the same time, you have to say whether this is something that you commonly see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I said that. That's what I said. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. You know, even hearing that from women themselves that feel that way, right? And you know, I think it's warranted because I think it is displayed out there that it you do see that. But again, I think you can add to that by, I think, the actions and what a person does and how they act can just escalate that tremendously.
Okay.
Let me say this. You know, this is kind of something that I learned about myself as I got older. And I admitted this before to friends, that when I got older, I started to realize that when I was younger, I had a self-hate for my own skin complexion. You know, I'm dark complexion, as everybody can obviously see. But I can look back now as a youth and see that I hated my own skin color. And, you know, that's a profound statement to make, but I wasn't really, it wasn't like there was a real hate for myself. But
why did you feel that way?
Look back now. Yeah, I can look back now and see that I prefer dating women of lighter complexion. And if I were to be honest, it would probably be because of the, you know, the little stuff that happened to me when I was young. It was being bullied, picked on because of my color, at a very young age. You know, it was rough back in our days. There wasn't no bullying laws. It was just straight on, you know. So looking back, I can probably see that probably had something to do with my opinion on dating, you know, lighter complexion women.
How did that make you view darker complected women though? Like, because, you know, not saying you had to treat them badly, but if you wasn't giving them a second look, you know, do you feel like you may have treated them a little bit different than you would treat a light-skinned chick?
No, and see, and that's why I was on the fence about the tying back to what we were talking about, you know, with women feeling protected. Like I dated dark-skinned girls, you know, y'all actually know some of them,
Yes.
you know, in the past. So I dated dark-skinned women. So it was never, I'm never going to date anybody dark-skinned. I'm only dating fair complexion women. I can just look back now and realize that, you know, to me, I always wanted kids that had a fairer complexion.
That's common.
You know, and so that was because I didn't want them to have to go through what I went through. You know, and so that I probably was going through some things and didn't even realize I was going through it.
Absolutely.
That time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let you make it that early, Vito, with complexion.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
I think, man, that colorism, man, that thing's so deep rooted, and I think it goes back. I mean, that's one of the original tools that was used to divide us as a race. Anyway, they separated the slaves compared to color. If you were dark, you were in the field. If you were light skinned, you were in the house. So that created that hate. So I think all y'all kind of hit some good points. I think with me, I can honestly say that I feel like I don't think I've mistreated a girl because of her color, because my mother's dark skinned.
Have you seen it though?
So, huh? Oh,
Have you
absolutely.
seen it? Okay.
Absolutely, you see it. I mean, you go Google right now and Google beautiful woman, and you might have to go 10 pages before you see a dark skinned woman. So I think, I mean, it's everywhere. It's in our community. It's on TV. You know, you look at the music video. I mean, you might see one now, but man, you go back to the 90s, 2000s, all the
You still
videos.
see a bunch of light skin.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's definitely prevalent, but I think I think Price used the systematic earlier. I mean, it was purposely done that way because it's just another tool to divide us as people. So you got, well, you know, high school, everybody wants the light-skinned pretty girl. You know, like you said, you know, you hear that today, oh, she's pretty for a dark girl or that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, I just don't think it's a singular thing that men do, because like you said, women do it to each other and everything. I just think it's another divisive tool that it's working its job that it was created to do.
Well, then it's also ingrained in us as well. You know, when you back at the study that Jane Elliott, I think is her name, doing back in the 60s with the doll experiment. You know, and they was asking the kids, young kids, you know, younger than 5 years old, I think, which doll they thought was a prettier doll. And they all picked the white doll instead of the black doll.
Absolutely.
So it's ingrained us at a young age.
J-Star, I'm gonna let you go. I'm saving these for last because I got a special question for him.
Well, man, I'm gonna be real with you, bro. It was all light skin, long hair for me.
That's what I'm talking about. Go and tell the truth. Go and tell it. Don't be scared, man.
Long hair, bro. I don't ask me where it came from either, because I don't know. I think it was just kind of like a family thing, man. It was like a Chambers thing, bro. You know, I saw my brother with him.
That's what you was told looked good.
Yeah, that was kind of what you were told. It was ingrained, and that's what you found attractive, you know. And so as I was growing up, it was always light skin, long hair, and potentially short.
Yeah. So what you? I mean, that don't mean you treat the other girl bad. I'm not trying to put you out there, but can you see where I'm going? As that could attribute to how they are treated differently, which leads them to maybe not feel protected. I'm not trying to force your opinion, but I'm kind of digging at the point.
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure if it relates. I think it's a whole separate problem, though.
Well,
and I think that,
well, let me say this. So before you continue, I mean to cut you off, but before you continue, let me say this. So you feel like it could be a separate point. That's fair. But what I'll say to you is, so you chose a light skin, long hair. While you may have been a nice guy, wasn't mean to the darker skinned women. Other guys that you knew that chose light skinned girls with long hair, did you ever see them be mean to them?
No, I never saw them be mean to them.
That's good.
Nope.
You got lucky.
But for me, you know, I was attracted to light skinned women with long hair. That didn't mean I didn't date a dark skinned woman, you know.
Well, that's a whole different topic. I'll say something about that when we get to the end
because
of this particular subject.
I'm equal opportunity.
Yeah,
But you know, it was what it was. That was just what it all kind of came back home to. And I want to tell you this story real quick. How I know it's a problem amongst some people, especially us. So when my daughter was born, me and my wife are both light skinned, and but my daughter was born. When she was first born, she had a really dark complexion, and then one of my family members said, "Man, she's dark," and I looked at her, and I was like, well, "What is that supposed to mean?" it really kind of pissed me off. I ain't gonna lie, because if she's dark, then she's just dark. You know what I mean? And it just kind of goes to show you the mentality of some people, you know, for a baby, and they say, "Oh man, that baby's dark." You know, I don't know if they expected us to have a lighter skinned baby, but I took it as you thought it was a problem that she was dark when she was born. You know, and I feel like when people see babies, they have that assumption or that belief that, oh man, your baby's dark. You know.
Yeah.
And they don't attribute a dark baby to being cute.
I got
so
you.
It does run deeper.
So James, basically, my boy James just hopped in. So basically, we're talking about colorism and as to why that may contribute to the facts that women don't feel protected. So I'm glad J-Star just said what he said, because protection means a number of things. We're talking about protected emotionally as well. So what you just said, you know, supports the point that I was trying to make, that it comes in different forms. Meaning, your daughter, she was born kind of dark. It pissed you off because you know that they're making a difference in her, as to say, oh, she kind of dark, like that's not okay. So she'll have to grow up with that and say, you know, I'm darker than so-and-so, and I don't have as long straight hair like so-and-so. So that's not being protected mentally.
Right.
James, yeah. So James, I got to go to you, bro, because I'm saving Deezy for last. He's special. So like I said, that's where we at, man. About colorism, I asked them the question: have they ever experienced it growing up? We're talking high school or whatever. I like to start at high school because that's kind of where you get your bearings, you kind of get your sense and know what you want to pick. Did they, you know, tend to go towards light-skinned girls, and how did that make them treat other girls, or what did they see from their homeboys between treating girls certain ways?
Right. So, I mean, I speak on my experience a little bit. I mean, some of y'all don't know that I was a military brat, so I grew up all over the place. So with that, I mean, I can even start a little earlier than that, for the fact that there were different places where I was the only black kid in the school or in my grade or something like that. So not seeing myself, that was one thing. But then when you start getting around other folks, you know, I have a complexion where I'm light skinned to the dark dudes, and I'm brown or dark to the yellow dudes, you know. So that was always, you know, something that came up before us, you know, oh, you're not, you know, if you're not dark skinned, you a pushover, or, you know, this or that. Now, when it came to females, I kind of came on the back end, J-Star there, but you know, I always kind of, my own self was, again, attracted to the light skin, but again, same way, equal opportunity. I even told V earlier, just by growing up, I actually dated a couple different races. So I've seen kind of just how that interaction over the years. And one thing I would say is that, I mean, that colorism is real. I've seen it. I've seen people, you know, step up to the plate and, you know, dispel it. I've seen it where, you know, you can tell it's you're giving that person, you know, a wound there, as far as something that they can't change. You know, that's something that they were born with, as far as, you know, being, you know, light, yellow, red, dark, brown. So, I mean, and even just in our family, you know, with my dad being as light as he was, and my mom being dark, you know, me and my sister came out two different complexions, you know, two different even grades of hair. I mean, we can go even further to the whole good hair thing, you know, and kind of even backdoor into you, J-Star, you know, My kids, both of them different complexions. I'm more brown. My wife is high yellow. My son came out pretty much my complexion, actually even a little darker. And then my little girl, she came out, the color of Tanisha. So, taking the baby to family. Oh, she took after James's hair. He has the better, greater hair. You don't have to worry about it being nappy, or you're so lucky, this and that. And her coming from her family, by her being the lightest person in her family, she's felt some kind of way from that, because she's always felt like she's been the odd person. And I even throw something out there too. She's also felt like it's a reverse privilege. Like, she has the privilege of being high yellow, so she gets that pass of, she's pretty, she's the popular one, or this and that. But then when you're in a country town in Alabama, and most everybody in the town is all dark, and you kind of stand out, then it's just that kind of reverse kind of privilege where now it's your light skin is a hindrance to you, in the sense of saying, like, again, you're too soft, you can't do this, or even just start to pick on the girls because, again, she's the yellow one with the longer hair, or this and that. So I've seen it on all sides. And,
that's a good point, though. To bring that up, because we've been talking about light skin as if it's the winner in all this. The whole point was to figure out, do we feel like Black women are protected when it comes to things like colorism? Like I said, I wanted to point out, I was referring to emotionally protected. So that's a good point you raise up, to say that the light skinned girls can also feel emotionally drained from being light skinned as well. So I'm glad you raised that point. DZ, my brother, I'm not gonna say all the stuff I know. Y'all know me and DZ go back knee high to the tree house, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna let him tell y'all the reason why I say my boy's special, because, and not to say y'all haven't dated other races and things like that, but I know DZ was notorious for it, and he actually said some things, a few things, matter of fact, DZ, you gonna jump in there, bro. What do you feel about it?
Man, notorious for dating outside of my race. I guess I can hold that.
Oh yeah, you might as well keep it.
I can hold that.
Notorious.
Yeah.
I can hold that. Well, most of y'all know, if y'all were at USM freshman year, the last Black girl that I truly dated was Crystal, the girl from Roberts. So I'm sure y'all probably remember that.
Yep.
But it's hard to say, because it's like, oh, you only date white girls. That's really not true.
No, it's not true.
I just seem to get along better with girls that like certain things. Like even my high school girlfriend, who was Black, is different than most Black girls that you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just the truth. We just just a different type of vibe.
Before I let you all the way off the hook, do you recall some of the things you may have said in the past about Black women?
Probably said, you can give me something specific, because
I mean,
that's no telling. I probably said a bunch of stuff.
Like I said, you my brother, so I ain't better be nothing crazy. But
No,
I've heard you say things like, they got bad attitudes. You were a young cat, so you might use a B word here or there. And just that, you, like you said, you made the point that you didn't have many interests of the same, interest as them, but you came off to a point where it was like, I can't talk to them because of the way they act, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. Do you think that attitude was warranted at the time? Because you're a changed man now. You're a different man now. You're a grown man now.
That's what I was about to say. I really, back then, I probably did really, 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 truly, honestly feel that way. Yeah. I don't really know if I feel completely that way now. Because I think it's, so like, okay, so I was married to a white woman, right? Married to a white woman, dated white, black, whatever women, like they all have a different type of attitude. It just depends on what kind of attitudes you willing to deal with.
Yeah.
The attitude is much different with the black woman, though.
So I'm gonna hit you with the hardest question, then, because I get where you're going, but the hardest question is, you got a mixed baby girl. Shout out to my baby Scout. Me and your uncle got you for life, no doubt. But me and your dad got you for life. I'm your uncle. But how are you gonna approach that, bro? Like, how you gonna approach that? Because you already know she in for some stuff. She mixed.
I mean, when we get to that point, you know, I want to try to. I mean, me and her mom talked. We've talked about that at length, actually, and I talked about it with my mom at length. And we just want to show her entire like heritage. We want her to know both sides of it. We want her to see both sides of it. I mean, the little girl already love freaking like Beyonce. You hear her Beyonce song come on, she dancing. Or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying Beyonce is the heritage, but I'm saying, like, you know, we're not trying to like keep her on one side of anything.
But you gotta protect her. You feel like you're gonna have to protect her from some of the things she may hear?
Of course. But I don't think that anybody else's daughter here doesn't need protection in another way. I think that if she was completely white, she might need protection in another way.
All of them.
Yeah. So, but yes, I do think that there are certain things I'm going to have to teach her, but I hope that I get to teach her one relationship at a time until she gets to, you know, where she's, you know, trying to get married or whatever.
Yeah. So, you know, that's why I say O to the end, because he was unique in that point. You know, he does have a mixed baby girl, and just, you know, it may not surface his ugly head at some point where she gets, you know, alienated about that. It may not. You know, I hope not. I hope we move forward, but it's a possibility. And again, you know, I just wanted to, you know, everybody to talk about that so I can let y'all see my point of view as it not being, that's a form of not being protected.
So let me cut you off for just a second, bro.
Go ahead.
So are you thinking that some women may not feel protected because there are black men out there who would rather date in another race or find other races?
Not necessarily another race. It's just about, so the thing about black men, you know, I'm gonna call this out, is that we can and tend to be aggressive in nature when it comes to pursuit. Period. You're talking about, so that's kind of moving us. You asked that question. It's kind of moving us into another topic, what they call catcalling. You know what I'm saying? So when, you know, a lady or female, like let's say I don't even want to use my baby girl. I ain't want to use Scout, but let's just say a mixed lady, you know, pull up at the gas station, and you know it's a bunch of cats outside, a bunch of black dudes outside. The reaction she may get may put her in fear. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the way she looked, just because she light skinned, or you know the reaction a dark skinned lady may get, you know, if she doesn't appeal to them, may put her into another mental space. I feel like that colorism, you know, moving away from that topic a little bit, I feel like that colorism lends a huge hand in black women feeling emotionally drained. And like I say, they do it within themselves as well.